Hello everyone, my name is Noel and welcome to Let's Talk Star Wars Battlefront II, the series where, having been fortunate enough to play around 20 hours or so of the full game, I go through every single game mode and give my honest opinion. Now before I begin, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because up until the release of the game I will be posting a ton of content just like this, showing exclusive gameplay, showing you gameplay tips and just everything else that you might imagine. I'll also be doing a Q&A at some point, answering all your questions of this upcoming game. Now without any further ado, I know that a ton of people will be wondering if this game mode is any good, because last year we had no single player game mode at all, so people might be wondering, is this tacked on or is it actually quite substantial? Is it as good as some of the other game modes? And straight off the bat I will say yes. This story mode is absolutely incredible. Now I'm going to start off with a negative straight off the bat, and that it is very short. Now granted, some of the people around me that completed it did play it on the easiest game mode as opposed to me. I was playing it on the hardest. I just wanted to challenge myself, and they were able to complete it. We started at 9 AM and they finished by about 2 PM. So, you know, granted they were sort of running through each level, it wasn't too hard on them, but it does seem as if their main focus is still on the multiplayer, so this was kind of more of a novelty than anything else. But in saying that, the voice acting is absolutely superb, the motion capture performances are just incredible, and what I really like the most is that you're seeing the Galactic Civil War, especially the Battle of Endor, which is the second mission here. You're seeing it from a totally different angle. You're seeing it not from the quote-unquote hero's perspective, you're seeing it from the Empire. How many times have we seen the perspective of a bad guy? So it's really interesting to see what their mindsets are, because of course there are always two sides to every story. The Empire, they actually think they're the good guys. It was just fascinating to see the different mindsets come into action, and I felt this feeling in me like, what am I doing? Every time I was gunning down rebel soldiers I was like, this isn't right, but I guess it also is right. It's such a morally complex issue, this. You know, it might just be a video game, but it does make you think, am I actually on the good side? Am I actually on the bad side? So it gets you thinking, and I really like it for that. Now in terms of actually the beginning of the campaign mode, I can only show you up the first 3 missions. So anything after that I simply cannot talk about, otherwise I will get in a lot of trouble. So there will be some slight spoilers for the first 3 missions. I should probably have mentioned that earlier, so if you are sensitive to that sort of stuff, if you don't want to see any sort of cutscenes or anything that the missions might be about, then you should have probably clicked off by now, and as a result I cannot talk about what happens, you know, a great deal into the future of this campaign mode. Which is really unfortunate because there are a ton of awesome things that happen, a ton of plot points, a ton of things I just want to talk about, but I cannot until another sort of week or so. But sticking with the first 3 missions, you start off on a rebel cruiser and you've been captured, and it is up to you to basically escape. And this is what I really like about how this starts off, because you don't initially start off as Aiden, you start off as her droid. So it's a really unique perspective, starting off as not a human. You're starting off as this droid and you're doing all this stealth stuff, and you end up breaking Aiden out, and then that's when you actually play as Aiden Versio. And it starts off as stealth, which, you know, stealth is not for everyone, but granted, you can, if you so wished, just choose to pick up your gun at any time, and that's another really good thing I like about this campaign mode. You can choose stealth if you want, but if you're like me and absolutely suck at stealth, then you can always just pull out your blaster and just go to town on the Imperials. So the stealth was quite a unique way to start off, and I did try my best at stealth. I wasn't the best in the world, but it was such a really thrilling experience to start off the campaign mode. And then when the alarms start getting triggered, when you sort of break into your firefight, and then when you actually escape the cruiser itself, it's like you know, if it were the start to a Star Wars movie, you'd be like, wow, this is incredible, I'm already so invested. So it did a really awesome job of just setting the stage and showing you how badass your character is, because Iden Versio, honestly, she is such a strong character. I would not want to fight her, put it that way. I feel so sorry for the rebels when I end up, you know, when I'm gunning them down and stuff. Now moving on to the Battle of Endor, again, as I sort of mentioned earlier, this is another unique perspective. You're actually seeing what it's like for the Empire to be on the ground when the second Death Star is blown up. And it is just absolutely fascinating to see how they would react, because when you're watching Return of the Jedi, you think, yes, we've destroyed the Death Star, we've basically destroyed the Empire, this is awesome. You don't think, I wonder what the Empire are feeling right now. You're not thinking about their commanders and how they'll have to deal with that situation. So I really like how you're getting this whole shift of dynamic here. You're seeing a completely different side to Star Wars. And then shortly thereafter, we are given yet another unique gameplay experience. So we started off as a droid, we then go into the character of Iden Versio, and then still as Iden Versio, you are piloting a TIE fighter in space. So already this campaign mode, it wastes very little time, you know, getting you sort of into the story. It just wants to be all out action, and you're getting so many perspectives, and you're fighting on the ground, you're fighting in the sky, you're fighting in space. It's just a really kick-ass way to start off the campaign mode. And then shortly thereafter, you're introduced to what is actually your father in storyline, and he informs you that the Emperor is dead, and the Empire, they're basically in a state of ruin. They're trying to figure out what to do next. They still need to exert their authority. They can't make it seem as if the rebels are in charge. So the whole story mode thereafter is about how the Empire is trying to regain control, and how the rebellion is closely, every single second that goes by, basically they're making more and more advances, they're exerting more and more control. And as I say, there are a ton of things that happen later on in the story mode that I wish I could talk about so much, but I cannot. But in the meantime, everything about the campaign mode feels really polished. I did run into one glitch where what would have been a cutscene on the ship of Inferno Squad's ship, it just didn't play, it just showed the ship moving through space. So that was, you know, a bit awkward. I did also run into some errors later on, which I cannot show you, but it was basically stormtrooper bodies floating in the air. So hopefully they could tweak those bugs before the game actually comes out, because it really, you know, errors and bugs, they really take you out at the moment, although they are hilarious and they make for some exciting videos. But as I said, it still feels really polished. The gunplay is incredible. What I will say is, this Star Wars, kind of moving out of the single player for a second here, this Star Wars Battlefront feels far more polished. It feels far more finished than the first Star Wars Battlefront, and just the very fact that they have included a single player mode, it means they are listening to us, you know. They're not just ignoring us, they're not just like, oh, we'll just give them that mode from the first one that, you know, you just had Admiral Akbar shout orders at you and yeah, it'll be fine. They're actually listening to us, and although it might be short, it's definitely worth picking up Battlefront alone for, even if you're not really into the multiplayer. It's just such a unique take on the Star Wars universe that I think you really will enjoy. And some of the characters can be a bit inconsistent. There are some things that happen later in the story mode you're thinking, would they really do that? Is that something they would actually think, you know? So yeah, the writing can be a little bit sketchy here and there. It might not totally line up with the Inferno Squad's novel that came out earlier this year, if you know what I mean. But yeah, as I said, this is still a really good game mode, and it might sound like I'm praising it to the hills, and you know, it's because I am. I was just really excited to play this. I had a smile on my face the whole way through, and of course there were still some negatives, but I hope you guys pick this game up. Hope you guys can check out the campaign mode. And if you do, if you're coming back to this video after playing the campaign mode, let me know what you think of it, and I will happily join in the discussion below. Also, if you have any questions about the campaign mode that are, you know, that I can talk about that aren't too far ahead, that, you know, I'm breaking embargo rules and stuff like that, I will happily answer them. And of course, for more Star Wars Battlefront 2 gameplay and exclusive content, keep it locked here to the Kyrgyzstan. So thanks so much guys for watching, and I will see you very soon.